Oh.
Are you gonna take a picture or you're gonna just...
No, I'm just...
Oh, you're recording.
I'm recording and then I'll screenshot it. We just have to...
I don't like that. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Winding Waves, episode 7. My name's Karen.
And I'm Amanda.
Switching it up.
Karen stepping up her game, taking charge. So welcome back, everyone, and anyone that's listening today or viewing us, our ghostly colors on YouTube. It is the middle of winter. We are paler than ever. We need sun. We're ready for spring.
Vitamin D.
I need that.
Yeah, that's what you get from the sun, and we're not getting it.
Mm-hmm. I am vitamin D deficient. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Anyway.
I think my nose gets sniffly every time we do this because I'm drinking tea.
Also, this episode, my goal is to not say or like as much as I have been, because every time I'm editing, I notice it and it drives me crazy.
I didn't notice it, but probably because I'm just used to you talking.
It's really any time I go to talk, I say or as I'm talking, I say like. We're going to nix that out. Okay. So, in today's episode, we, as usual, we're having trouble thinking of topics. Our good friend Lexi came up with a lot of topics for us, but us being us, we're not using any of them.
It's good, I think, to have them. Now I'm going to notice you're saying it. I think it's good to have those ideas as like a backup.
Mm-hmm.
I liked a lot of them.
Me too.
But I think they definitely needed preparation for, which we definitely had, because now we're at the end of this week and we didn't put out an episode. But they're good to have and probably will do them in the future.
Yes. I just choked on my own throat.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a hot latte with oat milk and a squirt of the French vanilla swirl and caramel swirl.
One of each?
Vanilla caramel. It's good.
Did you see that they're going to come out with the foam stuff that Starbucks has?
Mm-mm.
So they're going to come out with that like cold foam that goes on top of like...
I don't even know what that means.
So like at Starbucks, you can get like your iced whatever. Like say you get an iced latte. There normally is just
froth
like...
on top?
Yeah, now you can put frost. So it's like flavored.
Dunkin' now has a
The sun just came out and now I'm really...
They have a red velvet latte or something. It's supposed to taste like red velvet and...
Did you try it?
And cream cheese.
Did you try it?
No. None of that was calling my name.
Yeah, like I'm always interested to try stuff, but like,
I just would get it because it's pink, but I wouldn't want to drink it.
I like reading on Facebook, like the comments when they post that, like, oh, new drink, and then everyone writes on it, like, tastes like trash, tastes like I took cherry Pepto-Bismol.
Ew.
Things like that.
Where is that?
I just made that up. But
no, I mean,
I made those comments, but on Facebook. Where? So like when there's like an ad for it on my Facebook, there's always like 300 comments. So I'll read the comments. Great. They're so great.
Never done that before.
And people write like, I was at this Dunkin' in the middle of like nowhere, and they're writing like a complaint, like someone's actually gonna read
Gonna
it.
visit there. So today's episode, what I was getting to was that before every episode, we why do I have to say like my body needs
Just go
me
with
to
it.
say.
Just keep going.
So we were discussing what we want to do for this podcast. And again, we delayed because we couldn't come up with a topic that we both felt passionate about. And I personally would rather come out with an episode that we feel more passionate about the topic versus just babbling.
Like how I wanted to do Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Or like ask each other questions because it would be funny, which I think we're still going to do at some point.
I think we could do that at some point. Maybe like every couple weeks we do like a game show.
Because like it would be fun. I listened to another podcast do it, and yeah, like the girl didn't really know anything, but like I learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really important.
It's probably funny when you don't know the answer. Like I would.
Like okay, I'll just give you one. I'll just give you one question.
Okay.
How many teeth does an aardvark have?
Who knows that?
Apparently, fifth graders know this.
An aardvark? I can't even picture what they look like to be like
Arthur. Wasn't Arthur from...
Arthur doesn't look like an aardvark though. I'm going to go with, because it's a question, I feel like it's got to be like one of the extreme kind of answers. I'm going to go with like 65.
They have no teeth.
See, I told you like a trick or something.
Yeah, I had no idea. But, you know, now I'm always going to know that because I learned it from that podcast. So we could give people some really great
random facts
to bring up.
Interesting. Anyway, back to what I've been trying to get out is that we've been struggling to come up with a topic that we feel passionately about. And so today we were talking and we were saying, what are we going to talk about today? We wanted to film, but we had no idea what we were going to talk about. And so I was thinking about what I spoke about in therapy this week with my therapist. And we spoke a lot about like fear of change or just like the idea of taking risks and how I personally am like scared of that. As much as I want things to change right now, as a lot of you may know from previous episodes, I have been feeling very like stuck in where I am. And yet I have that fear of like the unknown and like when things change, that scares me at the same time. And like taking the risks to like make changes scare me like to my core, you know?
I think we're very similar, have the same like mindset. Like I can't think of like the opposite, like of just being like, you know what, let's just do it. Like I have to think through everything.
Yep.
And I think we're both dating people that are the complete opposite. So I think it's a good thing because, you know, it kind of balances out. Like I always like the first thing that comes to my mind is like when we used to go out somewhere and be like, okay, well, if you're all going to drink, who's not drinking because they need to drive because I need to figure out a way to get home because I want to make sure I'm in my bed at the end of the night.
Yep.
Meanwhile, they're like, let's go. Woo! And I'm like, okay, but where are we going? Is it going to be cold? Do I need a jacket? Everything. Are we going to eat? Yeah. Bathroom.
Food? Do I have to eat beforehand? What's happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're planners.
Yes.
I think the idea of like being spontaneous is scary. Even at my job. So like we have a schedule, right? And then like we have to adapt sometimes because things happen and you have to cover things or a crisis happens and you have to figure out what's going on. And that's the only part of my job that like scares me is like when things aren't going the way that they should that day. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. But like I'm able to adapt. I'm like working on that. But I just think, so basically what we were talking about in my session, I'm going to let you guys inside my therapy session real fast, was that I want a house. I want a puppy. I want my life to move forward. But at the same time, thinking about that is exciting, but also scary because I've never lived out of my house before. Like I did for college, but I knew I was coming home. I had this house, whatever. But the idea of like moving in with your significant other for the first time on your own is exciting to me, but at the same time I'm like, what the heck does that look like? Like what?
There's no mama to clean up the dishes, to do this, to go
I think it's just because it's
shopping.
new to me and I've never experienced it. Like yeah, Danny used to live with like a bunch of these guys that he worked
Messy.
with, and technically we were on our own, but you're not at the same time. Like you're not running the household and you're not alone. But like just that idea of moving out, having all that responsibility, starting the next chapter of life is scary. So like I think that happens at many stages in life. I think, going to college, even kids that are when you're at that stage of like, now you're going to transition to going to college and being on your own. I had that same feeling where I was like excited because yes, I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to get a dorm room and be able to not have my parents around and whatever. But at the same time, it's scary because you're like so used to being home in this situation, and it's scary to make that change. So
once you do it, usually
it's fine usually.
Pretty okay.
Well, not my college.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But that's a whole other.
Yeah, we talk about college one day. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom. Write that down so we don't forget.
I wrote that down somewhere, but we haven't spoken about it.
But yeah, I mean, I think the other aspect to it is we also hold ourselves back because of that. So just to keep going off the idea of you guys moving out.
Yeah.
You guys could go get an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
You both have jobs that have an income.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's like not the like top choice. Like you want a home, so you're not just giving rent to whoever. But like if you're really that frustrated with being in that house, you could just go tomorrow and go get an apartment for like next month. But it's also like waiting for that like perfect opportunity or what you think is perfect because
the right time.
It won't be.
Yeah. There's no like right time to do anything, but it's just like I think we've gotten very comfortable here saving money, and we're privileged in that way where we don't have to go out on our own, but also I want it. But then there's the other side of me that's like, wow, I'm actually scared to like take that step and like purchase a home or even an apartment, like anything. So yeah, I think it's just where I grew up as not a risk taker. Anytime I took a risk, it was like the scariest thing I've ever done.
I'm trying to think of like a risky thing.
Well, most cases, it like turned out to be one of the best decisions, if that makes sense. So like anytime I've actually taken a risk or like dove.
I'm not sure.
Oh my God. Why does that sound weird?
Dove. When I went and I dove.
When I dived in. We are not smarter than a fifth grader.
Dive. Past tense.
Pause while we look this up.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even look it up.
Okay, I'm just going to pick one and we're going to go with it. Just like you picked, what was that word that you used the one episode that you were like, this is not a word?
Here, dive. Should you use dived or dove? Some people say you should use dived. And some say you should use dove.
Okay, we're just going to go with dove. So what was I even talking about? The times that I like dove into things or dove does not sound right. Dove into change, like changing something was when I felt that excitement and like happiness or like it was a good decision to do that change, if that makes sense.
Yes, like it was risky and it was scary.
Yeah.
But you did it and I think it's a good change and risky.
I'm trying to come up with an example in my life, and I feel like they're not really risky. Like, I'm thinking about, like, in college, I wanted to transfer. And, like, it was a risk because I would lose some of my credits, right?
Yeah.
So risky. But I transferred because despite, like, what everyone else was saying, like, people were saying to stick it out at the college that I was at and, like, just finish out what I was going to school for. And I was not happy. I was frustrated, didn't see a future in what I was going to school for. And yeah, so I ended up transferring, and it was a big risk to take because I was transferring and switching majors, and I knew it would delay things, but it was one of those changes that I was like, this is a big risk, but I feel like I need to do it for myself to make that change. And it was the best decision that I made because I went to school for something that I was interested in and now has led me to where I am now, doing a profession that I actually enjoy. And that's not risky. But, like, to me, it was like a big risk because, yeah, like, the path was set in front of me, but I didn't like that path. So I chose to take a risk and change it. So it's kind of risky, but, like, not.
You also like completely changed what college was going to be. Like, I did the same thing. Mm-hmm. I was only living there, although I was still in New Jersey. I only lived 30 minutes from school. Mm-hmm. And my first year dorming was fine. The second year, again, not a great experience. So it was like, why am I?
It's not risky. Do we know what the definition of risky is?
No, but, like, I could have, I don't know where I was going with that anymore.
Like, you could have stuck it out and stayed there. You're talking about, like, change.
Yeah, like, I could have stayed there, but also, like, I also moved home. So it was like, now you just lost that whole college life. Like, yeah, I went and I still could, like, stay over with people and things like that, but it was just not the same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the definition of risk.
I think Danny and I talk about this a lot because he is the opposite, like we were saying. He is, like, big risk taker. Like, he will, I don't know. He would take a risk way quicker than I would. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, an actual.
I don't like.
He's not afraid of change or afraid of taking risks or
chances. In a completely new country, like, that was pretty risky.
Yes, like, he literally spoke to somebody on the phone, said, "I want to join your UK elite company. I'll fly out to America in 3 weeks," or whatever the heck it was. And yep, I'll just live there and figure it out from there. Took a risk. I would think that was one of the best decisions he made for himself because he found me.
That's what you're gonna say.
Because he found me. No.
So I was gonna say my risky thing was that we lived in Pennsylvania for, like, a year, but then you're talking about Danny moving to a whole new country, and I'm like,
yeah, but that was, like, the idea of change and changing your job, changing your lifestyle, changing where you're at, moving out with your significant other, and
yeah, which, like, it was not. It was just, like, boring out there, and we were coming.
When you make a change or take a risk, you're learning something, whether it's good or a bad experience. Yeah. You learn something from that experience.
I don't do well with mice or large
giant spiders that are the size of, like, a hat,
like a
pan.
They were just not that big. It was only because it, like, man, so ghetto. I'm just thinking of the house. So, like, the house had, like, no insulation.
Your house was made of a school bus.
No, it was.
It was. Wasn't the base a school bus?
It was like no, like what do you call it? Like
something on your lip.
Or a camper? No, it's just it's, like, hurt.
Oh, I thought it was, like, chocolate. And I was like, when did you eat a piece of chocolate?
No, it's a boo-boo.
Sorry. Now I pointed it out and people are gonna look at it. Maybe I'll cut that part out.
It was like an RV or like a camper thing, and they used that as like the base for like the kitchen because it had all the appliances, and then built regular home on top of it.
So it was like domed.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
It was definitely domed.
No.
Definitely.
No.
100%. It was.
Anyways, so like it wasn't very well insulated, even the rest of the home that was built. So it was like very cold. So I don't know why I'm telling all these details because it has literally nothing to do with what I'm about to say. But the heat
Fast forward.
would travel like right out of the house. It would heat up and just leave. So we used like there was no door to the bedroom. So we used this like old TV box to like block some of the heat into the room. Wow.
So ratchet.
I came out of the shower and I obviously just in a towel and I moved the box to get into the bedroom and scurried across the floor, but it went into like there was no molding, so it was like between the carpet and the wall.
What scurried?
The spider.
Oh, I didn't know if you were talking about a mouse or a spider.
Oh.
Okay, spider.
No, the spider scurried. And then you like couldn't smush it because it was like in a weird spot, and then we ended up having to suck
And
it
it
up.
was also like this big.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, you FaceTimed me and it was like that big.
No, we had to suck that up. And then like I feel like it was like the next week there was a mouse that just got in between like the dryer, like where the dryer vent thing came from outside. And like I was like, okay, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And then I was doing dishes and it also scurried right behind me and we like scared each other. And then it was like, okay, I was like, Joe, I can't. I just literally
like
can't.
One of us has to leave this vicinity.
I think it was because the bed was like low to the ground that it made me nervous that
they would just crawl on you while you're sleeping.
So I slept on like the futon. So it was
so
like
this was a risk that Karen learned a lot from and will not take again. She will not live in a school bus.
It wasn't a school bus.
It was a school bus. Anyway.
Yeah, we talk about moving elsewhere in the country because like this cold is just like why?
That's like a huge change and a huge risk, and that terrifies me. We talk about that too. We talk about going down to Florida, which we're familiar with, and I'm still like, that's scary.
Yeah. Like I need like we were talking about it this morning, like northern Florida. So like it does still like I've been like tracking the weather. So like it low of like in the 50s.
We want to go to like Orlando area.
Yeah, or a little bit north.
But not like in Orlando. But yeah. Mm-hmm. So it gets like chillier where you can wear like jackets. We could be like those people that we criticize because they're in Florida and they're putting like those puffy winter coats on and we're like,
when it's like 60 out.
So cold. Yeah. Or like our aunt and uncle and our cousin and our grandma live down there. And they'll be like, oh, it's so cold. I had to wear like long sleeves and a jacket. And it was like 65. And we're here like it's 25 degrees. So, but yeah, I think that just like is exciting. The thought of that is so exciting, or even just like moving out, so exciting. I have a whole Pinterest board ready to go. But it also like at the same time, part of me is like, that's so scary. Just stay.
Like, why?
Just stay living with your parents forever.
Because like you could always go back.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to be homeless, and it's not like I'm scared that we're not going to be able to do it. I think it's just that change is scary. Why?
Yeah, and then once you do it, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
like the thought of moving makes me so excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can like make this room my own, or I could do this with this room and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's so different, and I know it's like a big change, and that's what scares me. Even though I know I can handle it. But like, I think back to like going to college. I was like so stoked to leave. Stoked. And I turned into like a California surfer girl whenever we're podcasting. What did I say the last time? I was like, that's dope. Or like, I dig it. Like, where's that coming from? When do I ever use that in normal conversation? So
it's so like, bright here, like my eyes can't stay open.
I can't look out the window because it's like
I'm
blinding.
like squinting always.
So yeah, like going to college, I was so excited to leave here, get away from all the people I went to high school with. No offense to all of you, but I just was like ready for a change, ready to get the heck out of here, meet new people, and was so excited. But at the same time, you're like driving there and you're like, maybe not everybody, but I was like scared shitless because you have to live with this roommate and meet all these new people. And for somebody with anxiety, like that unknown situation of like, who are you going to be around? How are you going to meet people? And what's the experience going to be like? And somebody that's close with their parents too, I feel like I was scared that I was going to be alone and like not know what to do. And I remember the first time I was there and I got sick on campus, I was like, what do I do? Like, where do I get my I have to go get my medicine at a pharmacy?
Especially being in a room with someone else that you're still, like, it's
and I didn't have a car.
True.
So I remember this one time I got strep throat from my roommate because she denied that she had strep throat and was just acting fine, even though she was had strep throat. And so ended up getting strep throat, and I had to go to the pharmacy to get medication to fix it because I went on campus, whatever they did, the strep test, all that. I'm capable of going to a doctor. But then I was like, how the heck do I get to the pharmacy across the street, like way over there? I don't have a car. So then I had to borrow her car, whole thing. Anyway, then I get to the pharmacy and I'm like, I've never done this by myself before, I don't think. So like, how the heck do I get a prescription? So I had to like call home and be like, I'm a child, help me. I don't know. Mommy, get my prescription. But I think that like fear of not knowing or not knowing how to do something or being in a different environment that you're not comfortable with is scary. And I know Danny feels the complete opposite, where he'd be like, nah, I'm good. This is great. Let's
but
just
it's always like a good learning experience, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. Or like
it'll be.
I don't want to go too much into college because we could have a whole episode on that. But like I was terrified the year that I drove my car down there, my second year of college, because the school I went to for my first 2 years was in Virginia. And growing up in New Jersey, you don't have to fill your own gas. So
that's a big thing.
I remember that was like the biggest thing I was nervous about, because I'm like, okay, I can make it all the way down there without filling it. But then right when I get there, I have to fill it.
Yeah. And
so I remember I drove to my campus, unpacked my stuff, and then I made my friends come with me to the gas station because they were all from Virginia, and they were actually like video recording me filling the tank because they were so excited to see somebody who had no idea what they were doing do it. But yeah, that has nothing to do with being risky, but whatever. I just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, I think I'm not a risk taker. If you ask me to like do something risky, I'll be like, nah, I'll pass. I'm good.
Well, I think that's why like this whole pandemic situation, like
I'm thriving.
Yeah, like even Dada was like, I'm okay. Like, I don't mind this. Like, this is fine. He's like, yeah, I miss kind of maybe like going out to eat more often or like whatever. But he's like,
people.
Good. Yeah, like I'm pretty good.
And my personality is similar where I'm comfortable with it. Like, I don't feel like my life has changed that much, but now I can like say no to things and have an actual excuse.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh no, I can't go. The pandemic. Sorry. But Danny is the complete opposite, where he wants to like go lick door handles and just like live life normally and be free and take all these risks and be risky. And I'm just kind of like, slow your roll.
But then the problem is if he's risky, you're just like, you're in it.
But part of me loves that about him. Not part of me, like the whole me.
Well, I mean, like sometimes
I don't like it, but part of me likes that he's that way, because otherwise I would never leave the house. I would just not want to do anything ever. And he has gotten me to like go do things that I would say no to, and I did say no to. And yet when we went to do them, I felt like my life changed or I learned something.
Yeah.
So even like when we first started dating, he and I were dating maybe 3 months maximum, and his visa was up and he had to go back to England because his visa was up. And we had been dating a couple months, and he's like, you have to come visit me. Otherwise, how are we going to like continue dating when he won't be back for another like 5 months even, you know? So I was like, we've been dating 3 months, but I, at that point, knew that I wanted to be with him long term. We said I love you and all of that. Why am I giving all these details? But whatever. And he's like, fly out to me and come stay here and blah, 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 blah. And like, to me, that was a big risk of being like, I'm going to buy this.
That like recent, or that, I don't know what the word is, that early in your relationship?
We started dating end of like August or August. End of August was like our first date. And then he went home early December. How many months is that? Like
September, October, maybe 4, 3.
It was like 3-ish by the time we were like officially dating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember being like, okay, mama, dada, I'm buying a plane ticket to go visit Danny, who you've only met like for the past 2 months, a couple of times. Peace out, whatever. And I remember them being like, are you kidding me? Like, I get that you're dating him, but it's only been a couple months and you're going to fly across the ocean
to go on a plane by yourself?
I got on a plane by myself.
And flew
I was such a big girl.
To England
and flew all the way across for a guy that I was dating for 3 months. And just those 2 weeks or however long it was that I visited was like one of the best experiences of my life. And after that, I knew like we wanted to be together because I slept in his twin bed with him for 10 days or whatever it was. And looking back, I'm like, if we could survive that, we could survive like almost anything, because
that's a pretty big risky thing that you did.
To me, that was like a giant risk.
Yeah.
And my parents weren't like thrilled with the idea
So
either.
what if he was like a creeper, like a serial killer in all these movies and shows that we watch?
Ooh, bigger risk. Here we go. Going on my first date with Danny. We met on Tinder. And I remember he kept trying to get me to like go on a date with him or come over to like the Westfield house. And I was like, no, like that's scary. I don't want to meet you in person. What if you're like an 85-year-old murderer?
Yeah.
85. I don't think I think I could take an 85-year-old, I would hope. But anyway, he was like trying. And then I took the risk, was like, you know what, whatever, I'll meet you. I picked the place, public place, lots of people. But I lied to my parents too. I took the risk and was like, I'm going to lie to my parents. I never lie, but I'm going to lie. And I went on this date with him. And I remember I felt so risky because like the whole time I was on edge of like, oh my God, this is a place that like maybe my parents would come to get ice cream. Oh my God, they're going to catch me. So I felt like risky. But yeah, that was obviously one of the best decisions I made, was just taking the risk and going on the date with him, which I'm laughing in my head because I'm like, other people are probably listening to this and are like, what the frick?
But that's also like, I feel like now that's like how you have to meet someone.
Yeah. I also went on a date. This is risky. Like I went on a couple Tinder dates where before I met Danny, and it was real risky. Like I lied to my parents again. And I remember I drove maybe 45 minutes to go bowling on a date with this person. And he was so nice, like such a sweet person, but looked nothing like his photos.
Oh God.
He's so sweet. I don't want him to feel bad if for some odd reason he ever listened to this. I hope he doesn't know that I'm talking about him. He would never find me or listen to this, I hope. So nice. But I showed up to the date he didn't look like his pictures. He was much shorter, and he had a voice and looked like Brick from what's that show called?
The Middle.
The Middle. Yes. Like Brick.
I
And
like can't hear it, but like I also can. He's the one that like whispers to himself.
it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but the whole time I was bowling with him, like we had fun and whatever, and it was a fun experience and it was risky, but like then I was like, okay. That's also why I was a little nervous to meet Danny, because I'm like, oh, he says he's a British soccer coach. I'm going to show up. He's not going to be British.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a waste of my time. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I feel like that was risky because Tinder was like newer. And for me, somebody who doesn't take risks, like that was risky for me, meeting like a stranger online. Be safe if you're going to do that. Tell your friends where you're going.
Yeah. Share your location.
I did all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like all those times were so risky, and yet they were like most memorable experiences I've had, and
also just fine.
And fun. Yeah. Fun. So fun.
Like just a fine experience. Mm-hmm. I was saying I think a lot of the fear we have is also from like movies and TV shows of constant just like fear. Like I was saying to Joe, like, and Danny, I'm sure, and most people are probably that way, but I'm just like a weirdo, and like everything is like scary or like risky. Like the idea of like, okay, just blocking. I think it's also because you scared the shit out of me all the time as children.
We're always on edge.
Yeah, so I just like live in fear that you're scaring me, which like I'm so glad that Danny now does it back to you because it's karma.
Yep.
So what I was gonna say is the same idea of like constant like, I know no one's in this house right now, but what if someone's just hiding in that closet?
Like you don't know. You don't know. Like
we have like 3 bedrooms up here. I have to glance in every room and just make sure before Joe's over here like,
one of the reasons why I'm scared of living alone and want a dog is for that exact reason. If I'm home alone, I'm sitting like in a corner in the house, like I heard a car coming up the street. They're gonna come kill me. Like
honestly, one of like my favorite stories is back in the day, me and 2 of my friends, it must have been in high school, we went to see, I don't know like what would have been out at the time, like if it was like The Ring or like something scary, and you knew I was going to see a scary movie, and you were like, I'm gonna be waiting for you when you get home, and like of course it was late, so it was like dark and like none of the lights were on, and like I can't turn them on because mom and dad are sleeping, that I literally was like, we need to drive around again, like take another lap around like the neighborhood, because
did
like,
they even scare you?
What?
Did they even scare you?
No, you didn't.
It was just I instilled fear in you.
Because I don't think you like knew when I was coming home or like whatever it was, but
you see how good I am? I didn't even have to do anything. All I had to say was that I'm waiting for you.
But yeah, like just constant fear.
Oh my God, I scarred you for life.
No, but I think it's just like every movie, like I just watched like a scary show.
Like thrillers, so yeah. It's suspenseful, and then they shoot into the room and nothing's actually there.
Yeah.
But it's just that music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This has nothing to do with being risky.
But it's being scared of change, I guess, or just scared. But yeah, when you said we're like afraid of everything, I feel like we didn't grow up in a house that we should ever be fearful of anything, if that makes sense. Like,
no, like I was always comfortable. Like
comfortable. We lived in a nice area where like nobody's gonna break in and murder you, I would hope. But you never know. And I don't know where it came from that I'm so scared of like all these changes.
I think a lot of TV. I don't know if I'm shaking the whole screen, but I had to take my slippers off and now I'm putting them back.
I feel like TV wouldn't make me scared of doing things or change.
I think so. It's in the back of like your mind.
I don't know. I feel like it could be like maybe because we moved when we were younger and that was like a big change. Don't you feel like that was life changing?
I mean, yes. But like, I was how old? Like 10?
Yeah, but do you ever wonder like what if we didn't move? What would our lives be like?
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be like a risk taker, getting like piercings all the time and bungee jumping and
Probably not.
traveling and not living anywhere permanently.
I don't think
So
so.
risky. I don't think so either.
No, I think
Just saying that terrifies me.
I asked Joe, I was like, what should we do for my birthday? And he was like, do you want to go in a hot air balloon? And I was like, no. Like, he was just joking, but I was like, definitely not. Like, that's
What?
no. Like, I think I'd rather go skydiving than go in a hot air balloon.
Why?
I don't know.
I would not want to do either. Like neither of them are like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but if I had to pick one,
Skydiving, like jumping out of an airplane
yeah.
and just like dropping. What if your parachute doesn't work? Splat.
Sucks.
Yeah, I'm not about that life. I don't even think I could do like cliff jumping into like water.
No, that's no. No, thank you.
Yeah, all of those like risky things just make me want to throw up a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out on all of those.
But I just
And people pay to do those.
I know what? But I was talking about it in therapy basically is what I was trying to say is just like the idea of change is exciting but also scary. Even I just thought of this because we were talking about this earlier, like dyeing my hair. I've never dyed my hair in my entire life. And the thought of it is so exciting of like even getting highlights or like making it brighter because it's freaking dark as hell right now.
It does look really dark.
But it just terrifies me. I'm like, and it's not a permanent change either. It's something that
I was always scared, like, oh my God, but we both have very nice hair that like you get natural highlights if there were to ever be sun.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh my God, what if I can't go back?
Yeah.
Like, it won't come back. But like
it grows.
Just grows out. It'll grow out.
Or you just dye it back or whatever. But the thought of it terrifies me.
There's so much hair. Like there's just so much. Like we could just cut out this and you wouldn't even know.
You would still have enough hair.
Yeah.
You'd have to cut out like a middle layer, not the top. But yeah, I just think I don't know what's at the core of me that makes me scared of all of that, but it's terrifying. I'm so excited to move out eventually, but also scared. Should I cut my hair this short again?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I just was looking and was like,
It's fine, but like not yet.
That's the most risky.
Oh yeah, when you cut your hair.
Like, whoop.
I'm trying to grow mine out, but like at a certain point, it's like it's just so much.
Yeah, because we have really thick hair.
That like
So I think it just gets to be too heavy. Too heavy.
I'm supposed to go next week. Like, do I get a cut? What do I do?
Dye it red.
No.
I want to dye my hair ginger.
No.
Do you guys think I would look good?
No.
Not with my pale skin.
No. Then you and Danny will be twins.
Yeah, that's what I want.
No.
I want our followers, listeners, subscribers, all y'all that are listening, y'all, to comment down below on whatever platform you're listening to or watching on. What's like your thoughts about change and risk?
And what's the riskiest thing you did?
And are you scared of it? Are you like us and you're terrified of it?
There's a lot of questions for them to answer.
Or are you just answer any, all, none, preferably some? Are you afraid like us, or are you just like a risk taker where you're like, hell yeah, throw that risk at me. I'm going to dive right into it. Come out the other end. I'm not afraid at all. Hit me with that wave.
That was a bad sound.
I'm like the person that's standing by the ocean, and when the waves get too big, I'm like,
You like run back.
I don't know. But yeah.
There's a thumbnail right there, both of us going like this.
So dive in.
What she said.
Dive in. Take those risks.
This has been another episode of Winding Waves.
Winding waves. Yeah. No.
Cue the music.
Cue the outro music and the intro music. Just the music, that jam.
Oh, I just thought of it. I usually can't think of it.
Dun, 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 something like that. Should I play it so we could dance to it?
I usually think of the Crime Junkie one, that podcast.
Oh,
just
wait.
because
Yeah.
I hear it. Are you playing it? Are you playing it? Whoa, I would like die if I shook my head that much.
I'm a little dizzy now.
I would get like a headache.
I took a risk.
I'm not
Had
lying.
to go with it.
Shout out to my cool reverse tie-dye sweatshirt that I made myself.
Okay, dive in.
Okay, fine.
We'll see you all in our next episode.
Peace out. Bye. Have to be. Stop.
I'm leaving that in.